Hey, good morning, everybody. Irish Pepper 2A here, and I wanted to talk today about one of the biggest things that I always see and always hear people talking about when it comes to survival, prepping, states of readiness, and that is the fact that it is just so expensive. And make no mistakes about it, it can be. It can be very expensive depending on what you're doing, what you're purchasing, and how you're going about preparing. Now, my recommendation is always get the best things that you can with the money you have. But as we all know right now, your dollar doesn't go far these days. It just doesn't. Hopefully that will change in the next few months. Knock on wood, we'll see. But nevertheless, you always have to be cognizant of, what you're striving to do and how your budget is going to either allow you to do it or not allow you. And me personally, as I said, I like to get the best stuff. However, I would rather have something than nothing. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So what I did was I went to Harbor Freight. Many of you have all probably heard of that. There's been other preppers and other survival videos and creators that have done videos on that. But I went today with a very specific intent and a very strict budget in mind. Again, we're talking, people are saying, I just can't afford it. I don't have the money to do it. Well, here's some things I picked up that I thought were, very practical items, very useful items. And these are all for, bugging out, bushcrafting, things like that. They could be used in a bug-in situation. I always recommend you bug in first. If you're going to spend the money, first spend the money on reinforcing your stronghold, your castle, your residence. Get that established. Then start to worry about the tactical, bug out stuff that, everybody talks about, everybody goes out, including myself, goes out and practices for, but they always return to the stronghold at the end of the day. Get your stronghold in order first. Then this other stuff will fall in line later. Okay, with that being said, let's go right into it. What did I get at Harbor Freight today? First thing, I got this 7-foot 4-inch by 9.5-foot camouflage medium duty tarp. Not too bad. Two-sided, green on one side, camo on the other. 1000 denier poly construction. 10 by 10 weave. I don't know what any of this stuff means. Rope reinforced hems and rust resistant grommets every 3 feet. So they're going to be, some nice tie down points, but that's the first thing I got was the tarp. Then we got this little bag of goodies. And, Harbor Freight to the rescue. What did we get next? Cordage. Safe working load, 160 pound, 1/8 inch by 50 feet of paracord. All right. Always want to make sure that you have cordage. So now we have a tarp and cordage. That is not yours, that's mine. This is my video. Please excuse me. We'll do Puppy Chronicles later on in the day. Okay, paracord, cordage. So now I have, basically the, essential elements of a structure. I have the cover, I have the cordage. We can rig something up with this. That's going to work well be a good poncho if, in the rain. It's not too big. You can fold it up, wrap it around you, whatnot. If you are in your stronghold, you lose power, you can rig something up with this and create a microclimate. What you would essentially do is pin down the sides and get candles, or any sort of heat source. Have your pets crawl in with you. Snuggle up with them. You can create a microclimate in your house with something like that tarp. But for going out into the woods and, bugging out, hiking, camping, whatever your notion is, you have the tent and you have the cordage. So that is a big plus right there. Next thing we got a knife. Okay? So I have cover, cordage, and cutting. It was a very inexpensive knife, but it looks decent. We'll find out later on how decent this actually is when I do a field test of this gear that I got here. Okay, so we got the knife. Combustion. Magnesium fire starter. These aren't really my favorite type of fire starters. I find them just, when you scrape down the magnesium, it tends to fling everywhere. It's very hard to contain. I would much rather prefer a good sturdy ferro rod. Something like, 1/2 inch diameter by 6-8 inches is an awesome ferro rod. But I have used these before. They're not bad. They just take some finesse. Just takes a little bit of finesse to use this. And there's some other tips and tricks you can use to make this more practical. Technically, it does have a ferro rod on the side here. That's what produces the spark. You scrape off the magnesium, hit the spark, it ignites, and it does produce a pretty good little blast there. Not too bad. Lastly, what I got. And I was torn on this. I didn't really think that it was something that I should buy, but when I factored in the budget of what I was going to spend, I thought this was a pretty neat deal. Slingshot. Slingshots have been used throughout the ages. We all know what, the biblical story of David and Goliath, what he was capable of with a slingshot, albeit not like this. He had a shepherd's sling. But for what I was able to pick this up for, not bad. Now, I would much rather be doing that. However, in a SHTF situation, sooner or later, the food for that thing is going to run out. The food for that thing is going to run out. These, you can just look down on the ground and pick up. There's the food for this is eternal. So I thought that wasn't a bad addition. Again, I'm saying, that, people say, I can't afford anything. I don't have anything. I want to prep. I want to do survival, but I just can't get anything. Well, I'm here to say that you actually can. So, are you ready? Are you ready for the grand total of what all this stuff came to? Okay, the camo tarp, $7.99. The paracord, $2.49. The knife, skeleton frame knife, $6.99. Then we go to the magnesium fire starter, $1.49, guys, $1.49. And finally, the Slingshot, $8.99. So all these things here, and the tarp, what was our grand total coming out at? $29.63. Whoa, wait a minute. Yeah, $29.63. So just a hair under 30 bucks. And I was able to get, you know, these items, which are not bad. You look at, you know, what any YouTube prepping, any YouTube survivalist, you know, any of those guys are talking about. They're always talking about cordage. Paracord is paracord. You know, you know, paracord is paracord. You know, knives, you know, you can spend $30 on a knife. You can spend $60 on a knife, but at least it's something for now. $6.99. You know, it's possible. It is possible. You know, that's, you know, if you manage to save again, you know, I know that times are tough and the economy is tight. If you can manage to save $1 a day, you just throw your pocket change into a coffee can. You know, if you're walking around using cash or whatnot, you know, you end up with all this change in your pocket. Throw it into a coffee can, and at the end of the month, you'd be surprised at what you can come up with, and then you can go out and get something like this. Is it the best? Absolutely not. But it's better than nothing. Okay? So with that being said, Irish Pepper 2A, I'm going to sign off. I hope you all have a blessed day. And the next video that we do, not today, but the next video that we drop should be Sunday next week. We'll be taking these items out into the woods and field testing them to see how they hold up and see if our $30 was actually worth it. So, take care, guys. We'll talk to you later.